Hi, this is the second of our videos when we're looking at the new Angular JS front end that we've put onto the MCE Analytics Engine. So I'm just going to log in and really the first the first video really looked at the setup, all the features of all the setup, etc., and how you can set up your own calculations and your own analytics. So that was covered in the first video. The second one is really going to just look at some of the graphs. We've got a fairly limited set of graphs. We've also got a whole load of widgets, which there's another video on. But we're just going to go through some of these graphs and analytics. We're logging into our using the MCE demo account. This is there's a link to that on our meniscus.co.uk website under the MCE demonstrations. And this is connecting to a real-time electricity site. So without further ado, I'll just show you a trend graph. So you click on the data. You've got some groups and subgroups which are configured and set up under here. You don't have to use them, so if you want, you can just go and click on a select an item, get the data and graph it, and then you've just got a standard graph, and you can drill down into it, etc., using the zoom. But if you want to use the select the groups, so we can look at, say, we've got a group called reporting, and under there we've got daily, and then we've got 4 items here that you can select and say, right, I just want to look at electricity use channel 1, and you get the data for that. Now you can also add in targets and high calc and low calc calculations. So these are all other associated data sets related to this analytics. So these are all configurable calculations that you can set up. The low calc is for low calculation, so normally these are linked into alert levels, so that's a low calc. High calc is a high calc, so that's exceptions above that value. These can all be very complicated calculations, so they can all be dynamic as well, but obviously just static at the moment. And then a target is the expected electricity consumption for that particular item. So that's really a single trend. We can also have a multi-trend. Again, we can do the same thing, go into reporting, we can choose daily, and here you've got now the options of having a couple of, you can have 2 graphs at the same time. So that's that data. So again, you can and just those options here. You can download the data to CSV, download it to Excel, or just display and download a graph of that data. Or alternatively, if we don't want to use subgroups, then you can just go and choose any data set you're interested in. So we can just look at that one, and we'll just go and add in total electricity. And that gives you the same data, or those trends. So that's the multi-trend graph. Table is fairly self-explanatory. Really, it's just a question. It only shows one item, average daily temperature, and you can just export it, and then you can view that data. You can export it directly into Excel, and you can add in the high calc, low calc targets, etc. if you want. The real-time, here we can go into I think main data, subgroup is raw data. So again, these are all configured up in the setup, and we'll add in those. Actually, we'll add in all those 3 hours. We can three items. We can add in. We can look at the last 12 hours, and we can add in a refresh rate if we want to. So that'll update every couple of minutes. Sorry, here I've put in the calculated data. So this is the kilowatt hour data. If I want to actually get the raw data, which is more relevant really, I just need to change that to raw. So that should unchecked. So that's the raw data, and that now shows watts for and degrees centigrade for the temperature. So temperature degrees centigrade. And the black is the watts on channel 3, and the blue is the watts on channel 1. So that's live, up to date, and it will refresh itself every 2 minutes. So there's also you can get all this data, all of this you can get on widgets as well. So that's a real-time graph. Sparklines, again, Sparklines, if I go into reporting, daily data, let's just do those ones quite quickly. Uh, Here you can just get data for Sparkline data. So it's just little mini trends of the data. You've got the average. You've got each one of these. You can download the CSV data for it, and that's the name of the item. If you want to, and this for certain applications, you might want to sort of say, actually, I want to hide values which are less than a value. So let's say we want to hide any negative values, and then that'll just apply that if it's relevant. So it'll hide any negative values. So you, yeah. So that's really, it's just really to hide negative and very large positive values. So that's a Sparkline. Pie chart, fairly self-explanatory. I think we'll just get, sorry, go into the reporting again. We'll just use the daily. Because you have to, on a pie chart, really be able to show common units, you've got an option of selecting the unit. So we had either degrees centigrade or kilowatt hours. Use the custom date range, and that just gives you a pie chart. And you can look at the data, 121.4 for channel 3 and 577.8 for channel 1. That's a kilowatt hour data. So again, fairly self-explanatory then. And then we got a pie chart, a scatter graph. So this is just using, looking at two particular items and having a scatter chart. So we'll just use average temperature and we'll just use total electricity. The graph isn't particularly great, but it just shows you the functionality. One good feature that we did add, or you've got the equation up on the left hand side. One thing we can do on this is you can filter out points, so basically you can take out outliers. So if you wanted to say, right, that these 2 points here are outliers, we can filter the points, filter the X and Y's to make it easy, and just deselect those 2 points. So that's 7.8 and 12.2, which is the ones we want to filter out, and then you can redraw it excluding those points, and it's not a very good graph, but it shows you the principle of what we can do. So that's really the main features of the graph. That you can change other graph types in bars and line charts, etc. One thing you can do on this, we can, if I just quickly go and just choose a couple of graphs, we can, that was the temperature graph. We can also add in a real-time graph in here as well. So we can now go and say, right, let's get the main data, subgroups, raw data. Let's just get that. Those three. We'll do what we did last time. Last 12 hours. Refresh rate with 2 minutes. Oops, sorry, did the same mistake again. Let me just make sure that's raw data. We can add in a Sparkline as well. So the Sparkline is we'll just follow the same route, just to simplify it. Get that data, and then if we want, we can add in a pie chart as well. So that's again main reporting, daily data, kilowatt hours, and that's a pie chart. So basically you can have up to 4 graphs all at the same time. This one will update itself every 2 minutes as we get new data. The others won't update. If you're wanting dashboards that update, then really you want to be using the widgets, and which is where you can create your own dashboard yourself. So this is just analytics, which is in this main website web client. So yeah, I think that gives you a good overview of how to use the analytics and the graphs we've got within the client. So please give us a call if you have any other questions. Thank you. Bye.